So we're going to start chapter 39, verse 32. Vatechal kol avodat, page 516. Vatechal kol avodat mishkan ol moed, and all the work on the all of the mishkan, all the work of the mishkan of the ol moed was completed. Vayasu b'nei Yisrael kachol asher tziva Hashem et Moshe kenasu. So all the work of the service in the mishkan was completed. And all the children of Israel did everything that Hashem had commanded Moshe, so they did. They did the work, like all that God commanded. Okay, now, this is I like this Rashi a lot. Vayaviu et HaMishkan el Moshe, they brought the Mishkan to Moses, et ha'oel, the tent, vet kol kelav, all its utensils, kirasav. Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay, so they brought the Mishkan to Moshe, the tent and all its utensils, its hooks, its beams, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets. So what does it mean they brought to Moshe? Let's look at what Rashi says. See, Rashi is right there at the bottom. So, they weren't unable to erect it. And because Moses had done no work on the construction of the Mishkan, because Moshe hadn't done anything, as a consequence, because Moshe hadn't done anything, what happened was, Hashem left this last piece to him. Moshe, they're going to be unable to lift it. You have to lift it. You had a question, Shoshana? Nobody could lift it because the weight of the beams was so great. Nobody had the ability to set them up. Moshe set it up. Amar Moshe lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it was too heavy. So Moshe said to God, how can it be accomplished by one person? Amar lo, asoka tabi yadecha v'nira k'mikaimo. Involve yourself in setting it up, and it will appear like you're setting it up. V'uniska v'kamei alav, and will rise upright and stand by itself. As it states, Hukama Mishkan, the Mishkan was set up. Hukamei alav. Moshe didn't build it. It was set up on its own. Moshe just looked like he was building it. So the people couldn't do it. This reminds me of a story they tell about Cheskas Sabatim. There was a guy who was building a house, and he went to put in the Talmud. It tells this story. He went to put up the mezuzah, and the house fell down. So he went to the rabbi. The guy was following the directions of the Talmud about how to put up the mezuzah, and the wall came down. So he went to the rabbi. He said, "I'm following the Talmud, and it's just not working."
Probably crappy wall.
So the rabbi says, "Okay, try it again." He tried again, and he says, "It's still not working." He said, "Hold on." So he's what? OSHA. So he said, "Okay, well, if that's the case, try one more time." So he tried it one more time, and it still fell down again. So he says, "Oh, the commentaries asked that question too. It's not working." And I was like, Tosfos asked that question. So that's what was going on here. It wasn't possible. Hashem left it for Moshe. Okay, so now we say that so Hashem left it for Moshe to set up. And the covers of the ram skins that were dyed red and the seal skins. Okay, we're going to skip all this because there's no Rashi on that. And then we came to this is one of my favorites also. One of my favorites. Verse 43. So page this guy 518. 518. So it says in verse 43, Vayar Moshe et kol malacha, Moshe saw all the work, Vine asuoto, asuota, kasher tiva Hashem, kein asu, vayivarach ota Moshe. And Moshe blessed them. Moshe blessed them. Amar lahem, Moshe said to them, Yehi ratzon, shetishra shchina b'masa yedechem. Moshe said to them, what was the blessing that Moshe gave to the Jewish people? He said, may it be your will that God, that the presence of Hashem should rest on the work of your hands. V'hi noam Adonai Eloheinu aleinu. May it be pleasant of God upon us. May the pleasantness of God be upon us, Maaseh Yadenu, and the work of our hands. This is the blessing that we say, this is the blessing that Moshe said to the Jewish people. And of course, this is the blessing, this is the psalm that we conclude our Shabbos with. This is the psalm that we recite at the conclusion of Shabbos, because on Shabbos we're not allowed to work. So at the conclusion of Shabbos, we're about to work, we say this prayer that says, this is one of the 11 that may the pleasantness of God be upon our hands. This is one of the 11 psalms that begin with Tefillah Moshe. Amongst the psalms of Moses, amongst the psalms, there are 11 of them that are said a prayer of Moses, and this is one of them. Until David Mizmor Chesed Mishpat, until Psalm 90. It goes from Psalm 90 till Psalm 100. Okay, yes, so Rabbi Yosef, you had a question.
Comment. I just wanted to say that one of the rabbis in YU pointed out that almost the same verse is mentioned in Parshat Shmini, and there it's Moshe and Aaron blessing everybody for doing the melacha exactly like Hashem commanded. So
and does it say there what bracha they gave? Was it the same bracha?
The tradition is that because it was Aaron is also mentioned that there was Birkat Kohanim.
Right, I remember that, Rashi. It was the priestly blessing. Here he gives him this blessing of V'hi Noam. A lot of people misread that. It's one of like the things. It's like chalk on the chalkboard that they read it as Vayihi Noam, but that's not the vowelization. The vowelization is V'hi Noam. Just remember that, Neve. They misread it at Princeton. Okay, so chapter 40, Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe Lemor. Then, so we've now read. So now the Mishkan is completed. It's been built. So now God said to Moshe. And by the way, when we finish the Rashi in this week's portion, then we can move to the book of Esther because it's a very short period of Rashi. So we'll move. But we probably will finish tomorrow. But so it says that God spoke to Moshe on the first day of the month. On the first day of the first month, i.e., that's the month of Nisan, first day you should establish the Mishkan of the tent. And place in there the Ark of Testimony. And you should put the parochas. The word visakota. What does the word visakota mean?
Cover.
So,
no, not quite.
Well, I know why you're saying cover, because when it's schach, it comes from the word sukkah. Like you say, sakota could be read as sukkot, but here we vocalize it as sakota. And Rashi tells us it means protection, which is what the schach of the sukkah means. Sharei mechitza. But here it means it's a screen, because we know that the parochas was not above the ark. What was above the ark? What was the name of the thing that went above the ark?
Kaporet, same letters.
The kaporet. And on top of the kaporet were the kruvim. The kruvim. Okay. And so now, ve'veitet shulchan, you shall bring the table.
But is there a connection between kaporet and parochet because they're the same exact letters?
I'm going to quote for you what Rabbanit Henkin once said. I once heard her give her speech, and she said her husband, who was actually a very good rabbi, Yehuda Herzl Henkin, blessed memory, he was a posek. She said, her husband said, a rabbi can make a connection between any two things, and a bad rabbi will. And that's what he said. That's what he said. That's what she said. Okay, so Barachta Darko, you shall arrange it. You shall arrange the arrangement. This refers to the two arranged stacks of the bread. She says, okay, then it goes on. You shall put the altar, okay, etc. We're going to skip all that because he's just putting all the utensils in. And then you dress Aaron. And now, okay, verse 19. Verse 19 on page 520. So then, Vayifros et ha'oel al Mishkan. Then Moshe spread out the tent over the Mishkan. And he put the covering of the tent on top of it. Kasher tziva Hashem and Moshe, like God commanded Moshe. What does it mean that he spread out the tent? Hey Yeriot ha'izim. These are the goats' skins. Vayikach vayitain et ha'edut el Aaron. He put the edut into the Aaron. Here the edut, Rashi tells us, means the tablets. He put the tablets into the ark. Vayasem et habadim el Aaron. He put the poles on it. And he put the kaporas on top of the Aaron. Okay. Now we're up to verse 22. He put the table al yarach hamishkan safona mikutz laparochet. He put it on the north side, outside of the parochet. Rashi says b'chatzia tzfoni sharochav habayit. On the northern half of the width of the sanctuary. Okay. And then he put the table there, and he put on it the bread. Verse 27. Vayasam et mizbach hazahav. He put the altar of gold in the Moed in front of the parochet. By the way, I heard a shir from Rabbi Frand, because we're talking about gold, that they gave gold to the Mishkan. So Rabbi Frand said that there's a midrash that says that the only reason why gold was created was why gold was created? To be used in the Mishkan. So this is a very Jewish-centric approach to the world. That the Chafetz Chaim said, why were trains created? Just so you can get to yeshiva to study.
Why were planes created?
Planes were created to take you to get to Israel in under 12 hours. Why was the internet created? The only reason the internet was created was so that you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. Vayakter, right?
Yeah.
Vayakter olav ketoras, and then he burnt incense. Kasher tziva Hashem es Moshe. He brought there the ketoras. Rashi says morning and evening. K'moshe nemar baboker beitivo et hanerot. He set it up morning and evening. And now we go to verse 29. Vayasam et masach petach hamishkan. He set up the screen in front of the Mishkan. And then verse 29, and the altar, some petach Mishkan Omoid. So there were two altars. There was the golden altar, which was inside the sanctuary, and then the altar, which is called the altar of the Olah, which was where they brought the animals. That was set up in the entrance to the Mishkan. And they brought on it the Olah and the Mincha, just like God had commanded Moses. Rashi says, "Vayahu alav af b'yom hashmini lamiluim sheyom kamat Mishkan shimesh Moshe." So now Rashi is telling us something which we wouldn't tell from the verse, that Moshe, once the Mishkan was fully open for business, then Moshe didn't bring any sacrifices. But because then who brought the sacrifices? Only the Kohanim, Aaron and his two sons. But
Moshe could still shecht it though, right?
Anybody can shecht it. Anyone can shecht. But what happened was,
Could a woman shecht it? Like just shecht the animal in general?
That's a good question. This is the first siman in Yoredeya that it states the Machaber says, the author of Shulchan Aruch says a woman is allowed to be a shochet. He was Sephardic. Says a woman could be a shochet. She could be a slaughterer. So the Ashkenazi commentary says, but we never seen that. We never seen a woman be a shochet. So then the Shach writes, Lo ra'inu eno raya. The fact that we did not see it is not a proof. The fact that we never saw it is not a proof. It's called the argument from the absence of evidence is not evidence.
What about in space and English?
A non-Kohen was allowed to slaughter. So a non-Kohen would be allowed to slaughter.
It's happened before. It was over the years.
Sephardic women slaughter, but the Ashkenazic women, they're weak.
So I don't know more likely to get the hands dirty.
The Sephardic women, what?
They do at home. Bring the chicken on live or the fish and get rid of. Kill it.
You know what happened? I'm gonna tell everybody a story here. I'm gonna stop the recording to tell you this story. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you call me up and I'll tell you the story. All right, so I'm gonna tell you this story.